Good afternoon. The Housing First Subcommittee meeting has now commenced. It is September 24th at 4 p.m. This meeting is being held virtually for those who are participating remotely. We ask that you mute yourselves until called upon to speak to avoid feedback and background noise. For those who have dialed in using the call-in number, to unmute to speak, dial *6 on your phone, and that way you'll be able to, and please only use the chat function to request to speak. Also, to comply with the state open meeting law, attendance and votes will be done by way of roll call using audio. This meeting is being recorded. To comply with the state open meeting law, attendance and votes will be done by way of roll call using audio, not by using chat function. With that, I'd like to, I'm the chair of the Housing First Subcommittee. I'm here, Mindy Bernstein.
Here.
Mark Clark.
Present.
And it looks like Wendy Asher has not yet joined. The August meeting, have the commissioners had an opportunity to review?
Yes.
Any objection to them being approved?
Other than slightly confused that Jim's name was in there. And I'm like,
let me look at it.
I didn't print them out. I'm so sorry. And it could be my brain.
Where do you see Jim's name, Mindy?
Oh gosh. Now I have to, never mind. I'll just move forward with.
All right, I just pulled them up again and I don't see Jim's name either.
Okay.
Without any objections, the August meeting minutes are approved. Item 2 on the agenda is the Housing First update. Elaine, are you going to be providing the update?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Elaine McPherson. I'm the Homeless System Improvement Supervisor here at the City of Tucson, working with the Tucson Pima Collaboration to End Homelessness. So the Housing First Department does a lot of great work. I don't work directly with them, but they are overseeing all kinds of programming, including the Housing Emergency Action and Response Team, the HEART team, supporting folks who are in vouchers. They're doing really good work around implementing rental assistance for folks who are in vouchers and are possibly facing eviction. They also have tons of really great outreach work. They've got the multidisciplinary outreach team. So, I mean, they do all kinds of work, and even though I don't work directly with them, I get to hear all about it. The primary way that I work with the Housing First team is in the Housing Central Command Initiative. And I can tell you that in this cross-sector initiative, we have so far housed 82 folks directly out of encampments into housing. It's helped us really identify different cross-sector barriers. We have really great active engagement, for example, from Pima County Justice Services. Oftentimes folks who are coming from unsheltered settings have some warrants that are unaddressed that would prevent them from being able to be approved to live in a unit. And so we have Pima County Justice Services at the table to help us like rapidly address those things and quash warrants so we can get folks moved in quickly. And we've kind of adapted the way that we work with each other to check in on housing progress for folks who are still living outside. And we have even started to meet regularly for the folks who have moved in. We call that housed case conferencing. So we've started to kind of shift the way that as a system, we support people in housing. So lots of good stuff going on. It's a brief update. The only other piece is the local competition for continuum of care funds has concluded. So now we have a group of review panelists, including our TPCH Lived Experience Council. Members of that council are reviewing project applications. We have several new applicants that want to join the continuum of care. So we're hoping to grow. But yeah, that's the basic update I have so far for Housing First side of things.
And I'll add to that. Good to see you, Elaine. I'll add to that, Tisha. that the P-CHIP survey period has ended. We will now be working on the final draft of P-CHIP, and in the large commission meetings, you have had 2 updates, reports on P-CHIP, and we plan to go to City Council sometime next month, toward the latter part of next month, to get final approval for our P-CHIP, which is also serving as our strategic plan for housing and community development over the next 5 years. And additionally, at some time later this year, the Amazon Motel, which the city acquired and is presently being used to shelter, provide housing for unsheltered people, will close so that the expansion project can get underway. And we'll call it Amazon Flats. And it'll be additional housing there at Miracle Mile. That's it.
Thank you both. Any questions from the commissioners? With no questions, we'll go ahead and go to agenda item number 3, and that's the presentation by Brian Benz, Holistic Transformation, Changing Hearts, Minds, and Communities. Welcome, Brian. And I do believe you have something to share. Nessa, do you want to assist with that process?
Nessa, did you give me sharing capabilities?
You should have it, Brian. Just go ahead and punch share screen on your computer.
Yeah.
If not, I can do it, Brian.
No, I'm getting.
At the bottom there, there's an icon.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and do it, Brian.
Okay. Or are you seeing my screen?
I'm not getting in there either. Bear with me. No, so far, Brian, it's just you.
Oh.
Not,
Okay. If you're going to share, that's fine. Let me just introduce myself
Go
first of all while we're working through this. So, as Tisha said, my name is Brian Benz. I am a longtime Tucsonan, proud graduate of Tucson High School and the University of Arizona. I have an accounting degree from the U of A from a long time ago. I owned and operated gas stations here for about 25 years. In 2012, I became a missionary, a faith-based missionary, living in Tucson, but traveling quite a bit in Africa, places like Cameroon, Mali, Ghana, Zambia, did some work in Guatemala, mainly working for an organization called the Global CHE Network. CHE stands for Community Health Evangelism or Community Health Education. It's a holistic community development process, and I saw some amazing transformations take place in villages throughout the world, quite honestly, and became passionate about trying to take that philosophy and bring it to Tucson. I tell people Tucson is America's finest city. I know there's other cities that argue with me, but we've got problems, where there's lots of needs here, as I'm sure each of you on the call do. And so I've been, how do we use this holistic approach to making a difference in our community? And I've this idea of holistic transformation has been in the works for probably 3 or 4 years. We've been a legal 501(c) for about 2 years. And, as the name of the organization says, holistic transformation, changing hearts, minds, and communities. When I said that's the name, everyone said, well, it's way too long. And I said, yes, it is. But if what we're doing to try to help does not change the hearts and minds of the people we're trying to help, the outcomes are not sustainable. And so our mantra at Holistic Transformation is how what we're doing, how can it lead to a changed heart, changed mind? Ernesto, if you'll go to the next slide, will it let me go? Yeah. So as you can see, our mission Our particular focus, this particular, is to build a community, for those that are aging out of the foster care system. 18 to 21-year-olds is the target, that we're starting with. We have, well, if we go to the next slide, we have property. That's where I happen to be right now. It's the property of Bethel Community Baptist Church. And you can see there's a total of 6 lots. The 2 lots are vacant. That's where we're planning to put the houses. The church has donated the lots. I'm part of the church and have been for 50 years. So it's that's part of why we are where we are. If you go to the next slide, we originally started with a plan for 7 houses. And again, in all situations, we're going to have what we call a resident navigator that lives on site. So in this particular model, there would have been 1 navigator, and then there would have been six residents. Through our work with the city of Tucson, if you go to the next slide, we've upgraded to 12 units. So this actually has 12 homes. The plan is to have 2 navigators and a total of 10 residents. And so that's what we're moving towards, literally as we speak. If you go to the next slide, this is part of what touched my heart as I started learning more about the plight of these young people coming out of foster care. You'll see 20% will be homeless. They choose homelessness actually because they can stay where they want till the age of 21. The state uses the term they emancipate them, which I personally feel is a very bad choice. Emancipation is what Abraham Lincoln did in the 1860s. But as you go on, you'll see that 50% of them will be unemployed, 60% will serve prison time, 70% of the young women will be pregnant by age 21. I've been told that if you went and did a survey of every single homeless person in the city of Tucson, 50% of them would have come through foster care system. And so really what we're trying to do is we're trying to prevent these statistics. We're really a preventive, our model is all about prevention. And so if you go to the next one, we'll just put that in. This was last April. We're really a grassroots community supported organization. And so this was just the first gathering after we bought our very first container, people coming to support. If you go to the next slide, and it's interesting, of course, with Housing First. I didn't create this slide for this presentation. This has been part of what we've been using from the beginning, and it's our belief that these young people have to have a place to sleep. They have to have a safe place in order to change hearts and minds. I mentioned this idea of what we're doing, changing hearts and minds, and so some of the things, just to start with the house, for example, is our kitchen has IKEA cabinets. The reason we chose that is IKEA has 30 different door and drawer models. So one of the things that we plan is that as we are engaging with someone ready to move in, they'll be able to pick the doors and drawers. They'll be able to make the house their own. We're doing custom made. We have a custom made couch. We'll have 5 or 6 different fabric choices for our cushions. The resident will be able to pick their choice of the color of their fabric. They'll be able to help choose paint. They'll be able to paint. We also see this as an opportunity for workforce development. So it's the whole process of building the house. We feel is one of the very first steps of changing hearts and minds. If you go to the next one, you'll see. So we started. These are 2 20-foot containers that we purchased from the state of Arizona. They were removed from the wall. I assume all of us know that our former Governor Ducey, built 3.5 miles of wall on the border. So these two containers actually came from the wall. They were D quality containers, and they were pretty rough. Many said we couldn't use them, but we got it done. And I think the other thing I'll point out is I was planning to use shipping containers even prior to the wall was built, because in my research, it's the least expensive way you can get a roof, a floor, and 4 walls. The original plan was we actually had a vision that the residents would create equity in these units, and they would be able to take the unit with them. I think in reality, if you're coming to us out of foster care at 18 years old, you're here 3 or 4 years. You may have built the equity, but where are you going to take the house? And so we're still open to that. I don't really see that as a realistic, but we'd love for that to be realistic, because I think that would be a key to, obviously one of the keys out of poverty is to have an appreciative asset. And so if you go to the next one, one of the things that sets us apart in the whole shipping container, and there's pros and cons, and there's those who think it's the greatest thing in the world and those who don't, is we have insulated the exterior of the container. And if you can look closely, there's an 1.5 inches of foam at each of the contours, and then there's a 3-inch block. So what I'm told by my so-called experts is you have a better R value than a 2x6 frame stucco house. So that, you should put that in to show you what the insulation looks like. And then if you go to the next slide, our original model was well, here you can see the insulation, you can see the roof being put on it. On the one slide, they're up actually working on the roof, and the others how we cut the door between the 2 units. And then if you go to the next one, this was our original model. We were using 40-foot units, and I think it's quite aesthetically pleasing. One of the other things we're trying to speak into is the affordable housing crisis, and I think many neighborhoods would be unhappy to have a shipping container in their neighbor's backyard, but I think very few neighbors would be unhappy to have something that looks like this in their neighbor's backyard. So this would be a great for an ADU requirement. And so what we've actually ended up with is in the next slide, the 2 20-footers, and you'll see different views of what it looks like. We're planning, you can see the solar. And so if you go to the next one, that's the exterior. The next one, this is another picture of the exterior. This is actually sitting on the basketball court of the church right now. The next slide is a picture of the floor plan. You can see the front door at the bottom, a nice kitchen. The couch is on the right as you walk in, TV across, and then the full washer dryer, full bathroom with a shower, and then the bedroom with a closet. And then we've got some pictures of the interior. If you want to go to the next one. So that's the sofa that we built. I actually built that at my house. And the bottom of it, the bottom cushion lifts up for storage. The thing that's happened, one of the things that makes us different, I guess, is we're using all volunteer labor. We did not pay a single dime for labor. People, the community has just been amazing and very rewarding to me. The desire of people to come and help. It's been phenomenal. And if you go to the next one, you see another picture of the inside. That's the kitchen. And you can see there's a Lazy Susan there, the countertop. If you go to the next one, you can see a better picture of the kitchen. You can see that on the bottom left there is a 2-burner stove. I had to put this picture, and that's a dishwasher. On the right, it's a dishwasher / sink. I'd never seen one before myself, and everyone who's seen it said they'd never seen one before. So that's something cool that we stumbled on, and you can see, you know, the coffee maker, the microwave. Our desire is that this is ready to be moved into. I mean, you can come with the clothes on your back, and it's ready to go. If you want to go to the next one, I think it'll show, I don't know what it, yeah, that's just a better picture of the washer dryer. And if you go to the next one, it's a loft bed in the bedroom. You can see underneath there's a desk on the left. That piece of furniture to the right it's a custom made kennel is actually what it's made for. It's an end table. But a friend of mine builds and designs these, and he built that for us and donated it. If you want to go to the next one. So the key and how we make this holistic is the navigator position. As I said, that's a paid position. And someone who's going to live on site. I say that's a grown-up and someone willing to live life with these young people. Their job is to create an environment where relationships and community are built. I think the key in these young people's lives, and I would make the argument with anyone who's struggling, whether you use the term marginalized, it's broken relationships. They don't have good positive relationships in their life or community, and I think that's the key to changing hearts and minds. And so that's the job of the navigator. One of the things we say, and one of the things that make us different, is we have one person per house, and it's a complete house. And we say, here's your independence, but life is meant to be lived in community. So we're having an outdoor eating area, kitchen, and so the intent is that, you know, meals are going to be eaten outside. And that's the key to changing hearts and minds. The other thing that this navigator is going to do is to connect with other nonprofits for the resources that are necessary for the development of the young people. I'm on the board of the Tucson Federal Credit Union. And so one of the things we've done for the last 50 years here in Pima County is provide financial literacy training. So I've arranged with them so they'll, when TFCU is doing financial literacy training, the residents of Holistic will be able to attend. You know, life skill training, workforce development, schooling. We've connected with 2 trauma informed therapists. And so we're not trying to provide those services, but our navigator is going to help navigate. And so, and I guess that's another thing I'll make that's a big deal is, you know, most in the social services work are very familiar with case managers. And you know, what does a case manager do? They manage cases, whereas a navigator, the navigator sitting in the passenger side. Our resident is driving the car, determining where they want to go. But as a navigator, we're just helping them get there in the best, most efficient way. And so this is the key to what we're doing to changing hearts and minds is the navigator. This is, we talked about housing first, but this is what's going to continue the holistic development is this person who's living life with them. If you go to the next one. So the call to action is we're looking for insight, recommendations for potential navigators. We're looking for volunteers. We're obviously looking for support financially. We've set up, we actually have a total of 9 open houses. So here are the 3 in September. We have 3 in October and 3 in November. Love to personally invite any of you on this call to come by and take a look at the house. If those times aren't convenient, I'd love to give you a personal tour. So where we are right now is we in our goal, we've got what we call our model home built. We don't have plumbing in it. You know, so it's not completely ready to go. What we've had trouble with is we had a volunteer. Well, we've had a couple different volunteer architects. One lives in San Antonio, one was here, and that person is dropped. We've just engaged with David Garcia from Onyx. Some of you may know David. David and I went to high school together many, many years ago. So we've been together, and so he's helping us right now. We're actually working on our specific site plan, and we're working on our parking plan. We've had several meetings with Corin and Elisa with the planning department, but the next main focus that we need to get our permits. If you want to go to the next one. And so we put that back in there. Is again, we're looking for transformation. People have to have a safe place to live. You can't be transformed living on the streets. The next one. So that's it. I just, if you want to stop sharing, it's kind of disconcerting to me not to be able to see anyone else. So I went through that fast. And so and the purpose of that is to answer questions, further explanation. We talked about the navigator. Mindy's helping us with the job description for the navigator. I think the big point is what I see, and what my dream is that churches and other nonprofits throughout our city are multiplying this. I would love to see communities. I mean, not only for those aging out of foster care, but for returning citizens, for veterans, for senior citizens. I really see we have to multiply. And I would say, again, we're faith-based. We have to multiply what the churches are doing in order to get into. The need is too great. I believe very much in collaboration. We have to collaborate with the city. We have to collaborate with churches, with nonprofits. We have to stop all the things that are separating us, because we can't overcome the needs in our city are too great. And we have to, we have to make the hard decision of taking a look at our outcomes. And we can't keep doing the same thing if our outcomes aren't changing. And this is a test. I'm going to prove that it can work. I've seen it work overseas, and I think the principles of it. And so I'm confident. I'm excited. I'm overwhelmed. And so all of those things. So let me shut up for a minute and let you ask questions.
Thank you, Brian. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Brian, are you able to send out the address and those dates and times of the that you showed on screen for the tours? Or
Yeah, if I have, can I put that in the chat, or can I send it to Ernesto and he can send it out to the group?
You can do it both, Brian. You can put it in the chat now, and then I'll pick it up and send it out as a reminder to commissioners.
Okay, I'm trying to get it. So. It's 446 South Plummer Avenue. We're catty corner from the U of A track and field at 15th and Plummer. And let me get the link to this.
Okay, we'll also make sure that it's distributed through Neto. Mindy, did you have anything?
Yeah, I have a question. Put my hand down. Somehow. Anyway, Brian, would you be comfortable sharing with us approximately the cost to build out one of the shipping containers?
Yes, that's because I'm pretty excited about that. So we started our starting budget was $45,000. And again, that's for all the furniture, that's for the sheets, towels, pots, pans, total. And right now, and I would say we're probably 99% done. We're just under $20,000 because of the donations, that we have received. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's quite phenomenal what people have come alongside. You know, washer and dryer, refrigerator were donated by Tucson Appliance. Window Depot donated the windows. The countertops were donated. It just goes on and on. One of the amazing stories that I love to tell, and again, in my faith, I call it a God story. We've really been blessed with. We've been on a lot of different TV news stations. In fact, everyone in Tucson has interviewed me at least once. But a station up in Phoenix picked it up, and this was probably 8 months ago now. Little 3-minute news report. A person reached out and said, "Hey, I really like what you're doing down in Tucson. I want to help." And I said, "Great." And then about 6 weeks ago now, he reached back out to me. He says, "Hey, I'm serious. I want to help. I'm an electrician. In fact, I own an electrical contracting company up in Scottsdale. I want to do your electric." So he sent 4 guys down, 2 of his trucks, put them up overnight and did all of the electric, pulled all the wire, put the panel up, all for free. It's probably $5,000 or $6,000 investment. So again, the $20,000, is crazy, and I'm confident that we could build other units, that I could gather the volunteers to build other units. And so one of the things that we're considering is to keep us sustainable is building other units for people, and we could make a little profit, and which would support the ministry and the nonprofit, and then we could do it less expensive than anyone else could buy them, and so because we don't have to pay labor. The state, I haven't checked, it's been over a month or so, but they had close to 1,800 40-foot containers.
Good to know.
Any
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have just one other ask, Brian, is if the city of Tucson were to consider shipping containers as a viable option for their Housing First program, would you be comfortable in assisting?
Yes,
that?
absolutely. I'm engaging with other again, the way I see this multiplying, I don't see holistic transformation multiplying. I see multiplying the vision. So just another example is there's a church that works with the developmentally disabled, the Journey Church. They have a director. They want to do 12 houses. Their director wants to do 12 houses for developmentally disabled, and so I would love to come and assist and share our plans, share the things we've learned, and we've learned some things as we're as we've gone, and that's part of wanting to get this done. These group of volunteers that I have is we got a lot of construction experience. Nobody's built a house out of a shipping container before, and so we've learned things to do different. But yes, to answer your question, however I could assist, I would, from a holistic transformation standpoint, I would sell shipping containers to the city, completed houses all day long. I mean, whatever, we don't have the capacity to do hundreds and hundreds. But I would just come along and share my experience. That's what I'm passionate about is we've got to quit talking about affordable housing, and we got to do something. It's a crisis, and we've got to get houses built. And obviously you can tell I'm passionate about it. If we could take those 1,800 units and make 1,800 one-bedroom houses, or we can put them together, it'd make a big difference. Mark, you have a question?
So Brian, did you used to I may have been at a meeting with you and a Jim Murphy. Do you know Jim?
No, what
Jim
did Jim?
Murphy? He is a old time housing guy, Tucson
I don't,
Housing Foundation. Nope. Oh, okay.
I don't
There
think
was
so.
somebody else who was talking about shipping container houses. I'm curious what you think. I mean, if somebody wanted to try to scale this, or you wanted to try to scale it, which I'm assuming probably means paying for a lot more of the stuff that you're actually getting donated. Do you have a sense of what that sort of kind of commercial construction of that particular unit you're talking there looks like, cost wise?
Probably 70,000,
Yeah. Okay.
maybe 80. You know, and I don't know how many, when you're talking about scale, how many you're talking about. And so, there's a whole group of retired folks who travel around the country in their motorhomes looking for, projects like this to do. The Mennonites are big in it, and you know, I've met with multiple different people. I know, Pantano
Sharpa?
Christian and St. Andrews are taking 370. They usually take over 300 people every October down to Rocky Point and build houses. And so, yeah, and again, I think there are people who want to do, things. The biggest part of it would be the logistics and getting it organized on a scale, you know, the project management, you know, going, you know, it's like, what we're planning to do is, if we can raise the funds, we're gonna do 11 units at once. You know, and so I've talked to several, you know, professional project managers already who want to volunteer. That has me a little, yeah, I guess I'll worry about that when I get the money. How about
Yeah.
that?
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate-
I appreciate the time. If I can answer any other questions or any, you know, I'd love to. Again, we just need to, we've got to collaborate. I appreciate the work each and every one of you are doing. We've got to get people off the street and give them a place where they can have a chance to transform, if you will, develop whatever term you want to, whatever you like. But,
Agreed, Brian.
and so,
Thank
yeah,
you
I
so
just,
much.
one other thing too, is I keep mentioning faith. And I hope it's come across, I'm a person of faith. But if you care about what I care about, I want to work with you. You don't have to believe the way I believe. I'm not discounting my faith at all. And I won't, you know, if you want to ask me about it, I'm happy to share, but we've got to collaborate if we care about the same thing. We can't, we've got to get this separation done. So anyway, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Brian. Take
Bye-bye.
care. With that, we'll go to agenda item number 4, which is a call to the audience. This is a time when any member of the public may address the Housing First Subcommittee. Due to time constraints, the total time allotted for this is 15 minutes. Individuals are allowed 3 minutes each. Due to open meeting law, commission members cannot discuss topics that are not on the agenda. Items brought up by the public may be considered as an agenda item for a future meeting. With that, is there any member of the audience who would like to?
We have
Would
one
like-
person, I'm sorry, we have one person, Victoria.
Okay, okay.
And Victoria, I think you're unmuted.
There you go.
Victoria, you can speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Victoria. Are we having technical difficulties, Neto?
I can't tell from my side. She is in the in attendance, and she is
Right.
she is unmuted.
Right.
So, Victoria, can you hear us?
She wrote in the chat just now that audio won't work and she doesn't know why. But she can hear us.
Yes, I see that now.
Well, she's figuring that out. Victoria, it's
Mhm.
good to see you back.
Tisha, I'm not sure what the rules are for chatting, asking a question in chat. Victoria maybe could ask a question in chat. We could repeat it so that the question is recorded and the answer is recorded. Does that sound doable?
That sounds doable. I can't see from this vantage point. It looks like she's unmuted, but
Mhm.
it's hard to know what's going on. So Victoria, if you'd like to please put your question in chat and I'll read it and we'll get your question addressed. While we're waiting, is there any other request for speaking?
No one else has raised their hand other than Victoria.
Here we go. What are the various forms of actions in the model for housing first, like eviction prevention, regulation of FMR, etc.? How can we address and continue to address known barriers? My audio on Zoom is having technical issues. Maybe that's a question for Elaine or Neto.
And also remember, we cannot discuss topics that are
Yeah.
not on agenda.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We can take this
Yeah.
question. We can take this question and put it on next month's agenda and get
Mhm.
someone from Housing First to answer
Mhm.
that. But
Very
Victoria,
good question.
we
Very
appreciate
good question, Victoria.
we appreciate
I think,
it.
yep. I'll go ahead then and propose that we add that as an agenda item for the next meeting.
Okay.
To have HCD discuss the various models under the Housing First program for the city of Tucson. Anything else, Victoria, that you'd like to put in the chat?
That's it. No other questions.
Okay, very good. Then we'll go ahead and go to agenda item number 5, which is any additional research. Any of the commissioners have anything else that they would like to discuss or place on the agenda for next time?
Victoria asked in the chat, how are developmental city to county processes slowing? Or you can read it, Tisha.
How are the city or county processes flowing, or I suppose, or creating barriers? Again, we'll go ahead and put that on the agenda for next time for HCD to address. Any additional research from the commissioners that we'd like to discuss, or any speakers that we have in mind to call?
Nothing for me.
No? Okay. I'm seeing no. Not at this time. Okay, very good. We'll go ahead and go to agenda item number 6, which is next steps. Neto, I believe the agenda item we can place on our next Subcommittee Commission meeting on October 29th will be the questions posed to the HCD by Victoria.
Mhm.
Anything else, commissioners, you'd like to add? We'll have the HCD updates. How about we could end the agenda with an overall discussion of who we've had speak to date and whether or not we want to revisit the recommendation.
I won't be at the
Okay.
next meeting.
Okay. Okay, with that being all the agenda items, the next full commission meeting will be next week, October 3rd, and ours, of course, is October 29th. Thank you all for joining us, and we are adjourned.
Thank you, Tisha.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, everybody.